Welcome friends. How are y'all doing? I'm glad you're here. I am glad you're here at Project 54. I'm glad you're here at Heritage Ways, and this is Heritage House, where I live with my husband and my 3 youngest children. Our 3 oldest children have homes of their own, and we have 3 grandchildren. Well, I stay busy, as does our whole family, in doing so many things. And one thing that's so important to us is staying hydrated. Now, I have members of my family who don't care for water as much as others. I have guests in my home. I've had literally hundreds and hundreds of guests through the years, and it's our responsibility to show hospitality, and our pleasure to show hospitality to those folks. And doing so is providing food and beverage, and sometimes you want to be creative with your food and you have to be frugal. So all those things, the necessary hydration and the frugality and showing hospitality, you come up with creative ideas and ways to serve those folks. So we're going to talk about one of those ways here in a minute. I am Miss Katie. This is Project 54, a whole summer of cooking. We are cooking every summer, every week, we have a theme. And this week it is unusual recipes. Some of these things you may have heard of, some may be unusual to me, but not to you, and vice versa. Well, today we are doing, basically it's jazzed up water, quite frankly, but I want you to stay tuned because these are ways that you can enjoy drinking your water, getting your fluids in, if you don't like just drinking straight water. I'm going to give you a couple of new ideas, but I tell you what, first we're going to head out to my garden to get a couple of things that we're going to need for today's video. Y'all stay with me. Garden is taken off, and I just picked squash yesterday and it's ready again today. I love just eating the cherry tomatoes when I come out. Oh my, I don't have slicing tomato or a canning tomato ready yet. My tomatoes just took off this year. This is awesome. Now, I don't have a big garden, just enough to get a few things every day. Because if you're new to us, just to know that this is the first time we've been in a house in about 2.5 years, 3 years, because we've been full-time RVing, traveling around to meet all of y'all, and it was a pleasure. Mercy, I can't believe how everything's grown just since in less than 24 hours, but that's what happens with a garden. Well, what we're out here to get is some basil. So I'm going to go in here. I've got basil in 3 places, and I'm going to grab us a few little bunches of basil. I've also got thyme, oregano, and parsley, but for our purposes, I've got this wonderful basil, and I just clipped off 2 of the ends there, the tips, and that's also going to help it to grow and fill out even more. Let's go inside and talk about our water situation. Maybe we all would do well to remember that studies have shown that mental and physical health is improved by eating as families around the dinner table on a regular basis. Okay, so we're going to just talk about how to jazz up your water. So what you'll need is purified water. Now our family, let's talk about that for a minute, because our family uses a Berkey water filter. We got that when we moved into this house last September. It was something that I had been thinking about and praying about for a while, and it just seemed like the right thing to do in this house. The last farmhouse we had an all-house purifier, but this one doesn't, and we didn't have that money to spend on that. And we really wanted to have a good, pure water. So I did my research, and we did buy a Berkey water filter. And we're just very, very satisfied. All the children and Mr. Patient and I can tell a difference. We start with that. We have our filtered water that I've put in these glass containers. Now, you're going to need a glass container for this infused, you might call it infused water. That's fine. You can use whatever jazzy words make you happy. I will tell you, when we had our second Sunday social last month, I served this water and it was all gone. And we had regular water offered as well as sweet tea and unsweet tea and lemonade. And this water seemed to be quite popular. So what I'm going to do is you can add ice if you're going to eat it, drink it right away. But you're not going to get the full benefits unless you let it set for a while. And when I made this before for church, I made it in the afternoon, and I just set it over here on the counter, and I served it with ice a few hours later. Then I had made some more, and I put it in the refrigerator and drank it the next day, and it had much more flavor. So you're not only getting the flavor with this method, if you will, you're also getting the vitamins and nutrients. So let's talk about a pinch of salt. And let's talk about the minerals. Redmond real salt or Himalayan sea salt, any kind of a pink salt, not the stuff you get in the blue box, the iodized or all that stuff. I don't even buy that unless I'm doing an art project or something. But we don't ingest that. So this is a healthy, consult any of the people who know more than I do, and they're going to tell you this is a very healthy salt. And just a pinch of it adds, just a dab, adds minerals, especially during the summer if you're needing that rehydration. So adding a pinch of salt in each one of these. Now, we're not doing measurements here. So my basil's so pungent. But what I want to do is I want to just drop this down in here. It's clean. And I'm going to take a wooden spoon and I'm just going to kind of bruise it a little bit. I'm not chopping it up because I don't want people to have to deal with bits of green. Just kind of bruise it. Now, the next thing is my very first Boston pickling cucumber. I let it get a little bit too big, and it was the biggest one out there. But this is my first one in this house. And I did use an English cucumber on last Sunday when we had folks. And you don't even have to chop the ends off. But anyway, I just did. And you can, when I first saw this done, it was in a Greek restaurant. My most favorite Greek restaurant in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And he had the peelings put in the water. But you know what? The other day, I just sliced like this, and I liked that too. You had that freshness. So I'm going to put, because that's what I decided to use this whole cucumber for. And like I said, there's not measurements on this. But cucumber, lemon, basil, and after it infuses, it's just so fresh tasting. I hate to keep using that word, but it's true. That's crunchy. I'll be making my pickles pretty soon. Okay, and then I've got this lemon. Just gonna kind of cut that up a little bit. It's pretty too in there. Preferably organic, but this isn't, and that's fine. We will live through it. I'm gonna pour my water over the top, and I'm just gonna let it set for, you could even drink this a couple of days after you make it. I probably might not go 3 days. I don't know. Test it out and see what works for you. Now, I'll serve this with supper here in a little bit, so that means I'm probably going to go ahead and add some ice to this. Okay, just drop some ice down in there. That's pretty too. Even furthermore, if you had the time, you could put basil leaves in the ice cube trays, and then when it thawed, you'd have extra basil in there. Now, one last thing you can do is we sometimes, often actually, use essential oils, the highest grade that you can find. These happen to be produced for ingestion. And this is a lemon essential oil. You could put a drop of that in there. And we've used peppermint for 20 years in our water. But what I wanted to show you today is actual vegetables and fruit and herbs. Also, speaking of mint, you can go out and get all sorts of mint. I have 4 or 5 kinds outside. You can do that. But this is the primary method I wanted to show you today. Isn't that pretty? So the cucumber and the lemon, you could use the cucumber peel if you just wanted to use that, and refrigerate it and enjoy that. And I hope that will help you to consume more water and stay hydrated. So this may be a little bit unusual for y'all. I hope it is a new idea, and if it's not, then thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week when we talk about more unusual recipes. And so over the weekend, make sure you tell your friends, and make sure if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button, and you will be in the know when it's time for us to have an end of the Project 54 party. I'm going to be live talking and laughing with y'all, answering questions at the end of Project 54. So make sure you don't miss out on that. So have a great weekend and God bless. Talk to you Monday. Bye-bye. Hey friends, I forgot to add this to my video. I sometimes add aloe vera juice. This is very good to for the gut, for indigestion. It's good for GERD, the whole digestive system. It's good for rehydration. But do your research. This is something you have to work up to in amounts because it does act on your digestive system. But this has really helped me a lot with my issues with GERD or acid reflux. But anyway, I meant to tell you that you can add. It's up to you how much you add, but you can add the aloe vera juice. Make sure it's the inner fillet that you buy. Keep this refrigerated, but you can add this to the water that we just talked about, and it just gives it another powerful punch to help keep you healthy. So I hope that tip helps you as well.